When you hear Cleopatra, you probably think of romance with Julius Caesar or Mark Antony. But here's the truth. Cleopatra wasn't just a seductress. She was one of the wealthiest and most strategic rulers of her time. She controlled Egypt's vast grain trade, managed the riches of the Nile, and used wealth as a weapon in politics. Today, on Wealth Be Hers, we'll uncover Cleopatra's financial genius and what it can teach us about power, legacy, and resilience. Cleopatra VII was born in 69 BC into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great. By the time she became queen at 18, Egypt was rich but politically unstable. She quickly realized that wealth wasn't about filling treasuries, it was leverage, and she wielded it brilliantly. Let's talk about how she built and maintained power through wealth. Grain as currency. Remember, money is something that you can actually, that holds its value. Okay. Currency, like the US dollar, like the euro, like the pound, those are currencies, those aren't money. And their value goes up and down based on whatever causes them to go up and down. Over time, currencies have been lots of things, including grain. Egypt was Rome's breadbasket. Cleopatra controlled the grain supply, which fed millions. She knew whoever controlled food controlled politics. Think about that. Whoever controlled food controlled politics. Trade and taxes. She expanded Egypt's economy by strengthening trade routes along the Nile and Mediterranean. She taxed luxury items that were in high demand, like papyrus and perfumes. Not willy-nilly tariffs and taxes. Luxury items that the wealthy bought, they were taxed. They cost more. She used wealth as diplomacy. She didn't meet Julius Caesar empty-handed. She took her beauty, of course. She came also with gifts, money, and promises of Egypt's resources. Later, with Mark Antony, she funded military campaigns in exchange for influence and territory. Cleopatra wasn't waiting for Rome's approval. She played Rome, using wealth and strategy to protect Egypt's independence as long as she could. History often reduces Cleopatra to beauty and seduction, but ancient records show she was highly educated, speaking multiple languages, studying economics, politics, and science. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony weren't just about romance. They were business deals. She understood the game. Wealth buys allies, armies, and survival. Even her image, coins with her face, was a financial strategy. She branded herself as both goddess and ruler, reinforcing her legitimacy and authority in a male-dominated world. You guys got to think about this. We always hear about Cleopatra, and I know about neroli oil and how she used that to seduce Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, and she may have used that also, but she used the wealth of her country to seduce them and help her maintain the economy of her country. What can this teach us today? Control your resources. Cleopatra leveraged Egypt's grain like we might leverage real estate, patents, or intellectual property. What do you control that others need? What do you have that others need that you can monetize? Making money is not a bad thing. We all need it. Making money is solving problems. You make money when you solve problems. Wealth is power. She used money to negotiate, influence, and protect her people. She used money to negotiate, influence, and protect her people. Money isn't just security, it's leverage. Narrative is wealth. Cleopatra branded herself as divine, powerful, and unshakable. For us, how we present ourselves and our financial story matters. It shapes how others perceive and partner with us. Confidence in money, confidence about money. This is what I'm talking about. Not being flashy, fancy cars. Yeah, some people buy that. But your confidence about money, your ability to speak about money, that's going to turn more heads. That's the narrative. That shows that you know what you're talking about. That is huge leverage in everything you want to do financially. And perhaps her biggest lesson, don't underestimate the role of women as economic power players. Cleopatra's wealth wasn't a backdrop to her life. It was the foundation of her reign. Cleopatra's story reminds us that wealth has always been about more than money. It's about power, independence, or freedom and legacy. So let me leave you with this. In your own journey, how can you use the resources that you control not just to survive, but to thrive? Thriving for you, thriving for your descendants, passing that legacy on for years and years and years. Thank you for joining me on Wealth Be Hers. Cleopatra's story gave you a new perspective on women and wealth. Share it with a friend. And if you are so inclined, please go to moneywithmission.com, book a call, go in, explore the website, find out about our Wealth Be Hers community, and book a call. I would love to meet you. I would love to talk about you and your money story. And let's get to be friends. Remember, wealth isn't just money. It's strategy, resilience, and the courage to rule your own empire. I'll see you guys next week.